December 25, 1874. I mark this Christmas in my diary as one I shall always cherish, for we have shared it with good neighbors and dear friends. And it is the sharing that brings contentment, the sharing of all things. Davy and I know this now, and we shall never forget it. For if joy should be shared, so should sorrow. And what greater sorrow can there be than the death of a baby? Even as we laid our little Davy to rest on the prairie, I could not grasp how a child so filled with life and laughter one day could burn with fever the next, until the fever consumed him, and he lay still forever.
Seeing as there's no preacher to be had, Dave asked me to say the words. It seems to me there are no words to say that'd ease Dave and Molly in their sorrow. All flesh is as grass, and all the glory of man is the flower of grass. The grass withereth, and the flower thereof falleth away. But the word of the Lord endureth forever. In the midst of life, we are in death. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust, in sure and certain hope of the resurrection into eternal life.
It seems to me now that even as we stood at the graveside, Davy and I resolved that to spare each other, we would not speak of little Davy. We would not burden each other with our grief. And so the days and weeks passed, filled with unshed tears and unspoken thoughts of little Davy. June into July, July into August, September. We were having an Indian summer, rare in the Dakota territory, where the seasons seldom yield graciously to each other. Who are they, Davy?
Railroad supply wagons.
I wonder where they're going.
Beats me.
Why do you suppose the railroad's hauling supplies that way, Davy?
Could be setting up a storage depot someplace. I guess I can find out when I go into Wild Rose to pick up the saplings Pa sent me from home. Why don't you drive in with me tomorrow? It's been a long time since you went to town.
I'd as soon not go. I have things to see to here.
I'd enjoy your company.
You have my company every day.
Oh, never enough for me. Say you'll go.
We'll see. Now I'd best look to the candles, David. David, I must see to the candles.
Peters are coming. Whole kit and caboodle.
Keep them company. I'll put on some coffee.
Sure will.
Pa, money's allowing. Can we get us a slate? Molly said she'd learn me and the young'uns how to write.
Not me.
What you said on growing up ignorant?
Okay, Charlie, that's no way to talk. I'll put a mind to it.
Morning.
Morning, Dave. Looks like summer's hanging on.
Yeah, hope so. Picking up my saplings from Wild Rose tomorrow. I've got to get them planted before we have our first freeze.
You can't wait to set out trees.
Molly in the house?
Went to put on the coffee as soon as she spied you coming.
The young'uns was a badgering to come. Well, Pa was wondering about them wagons we seen.
Yippee! Molly got something good.
Watch your manners. Now, you're gonna choke, you don't swallow that. Now, you two get out from underfoot and stay out of trouble. I see you're making candles, so don't mind us.
Oh, the candles will keep until we've had our coffee.
Wouldn't mind a cup of coffee. Nettie turned out a fair cook since them all passed on, but her coffee seems lacking.
The coffee that's a-lacking. You've been out of it for a week.
I'll get the coffee.
I'll give you a hand.
Dave? What do you think about them wagons? You figure the railroad's gonna set up a storage depot?
Well, I figured it that way. But you know, now that I think about it, it doesn't make that much sense. Railroad always sets up camps and depots ahead of the line of construction. Railroad's not routed to go that way.
Maybe Loftus, the company store, made himself a private deal. Helped himself to a load of lumber, and he's selling it to some homesteaders.
That wouldn't surprise me. Wood being so scarce and valuable out here. Oh, I fixed your harness, Mr. Peters. It's in the barn.
I appreciate that. I never did get the knack of working with leather.
Well, my pa was a good teacher.
Looks good as new. Thanks, Dave.
Glad to do it. Say, did you give any thought to my idea about buying a yoke of oxen for the plowing? Be a three-way split between you, me, and Dan Gray. Then we could share them. A yoke of oxen about plowing sure go a lot easier.
Dan Gray said he'd go in on it?
You would.
Oh, I sure would like to, but, well, right now I don't have the cash money.
Oh, me either. Or Dan Gray. I was thinking of spring. Give us all a chance to lay by some money if the hunting goes good this winter.
Hope you can count me in. That Charlie shows signs of being taller than me someday. I know it sounds prideful, but nothing gives a man more pleasure than seeing his son growing tall and... That was a fool thing to say, Dave.
Now it eases my mind to talk about little Davy. I can't go to Molly. Don't want her to go on remembering and grieving.
Seems to me she's coming around real fine.
Oh, she's doing her best.
Women have their own way of dealing with grief. Seems to me you've lost a bit of weight. How are you doing?
Well, I lost my firstborn. I lost my son.
You and Molly have years ahead to have more young'uns.
I reckon so. I don't see how anybody can take little Davy's place.
I'm sorry there isn't any sugar. I used the last of it for my baking.
That don't matter. Pa likes it black and powerful. Dan Gray been about lately?
Well, he stopped by last week, but I haven't seen him since. It's a long ride over.
Well, I'm only asking because he promised to take Charlie and Flora on an outing to Turtle Creek. That's the only reason I ask.
Oh, of course. Will you go along, too?
I might. That is, if I ain't too busy with my chores.
Coffee's ready.
Couldn't be ready ourselves. Dave fixed my harness. Good as new.
Looks fine. Now you set it down, take your coffee, pour a spill it, Paul.
Sure smells good.
Mr. Peters may go in on the oxen with us.
Oh, wouldn't that be fun? Where you figure on get the money, Paul? Oxens don't come cheap.
Oh, well, we wouldn't buy them till next spring, so figure we'd give...
You know Molly wasn't looking to be mean. It was little Davy's play toy you found. And Molly's still hurting because little Davy passed on.
I'm sorry.
There's no need to say that, Molly. You all right now?
I want to go home.
Hush up, Charlie.
I'll see if I can settle Charlie down.
Oh, no. That's for me to do. Charlie. I'm sorry if I frightened you. Here. I want you to have this. I'm sure Nettie can make it all shiny again for you.
Won't take more than some elbow grease to get that rust off. Now you take the horn and thank Molly nicely.
Thank you nicely, Molly.
I reckon we'll head home. Nettie's got bread settled. I'm real sorry about what happened, Molly.
We wouldn't have caused you no grief or anything. But I guess you know that.
It's all right, Nettie. Truly.
You folks come over when you can.
You bet.
Nettie, when I see Dan, I'll remind him of that outing.
What outing?
Ain't nothing, Pa.
All right now, Molly.
Yes, of course. I'd better fix the water bucket. It's leaking badly.
I'll make a bargain with you. If I fix the water bucket, will you go into Wild Rose with me tomorrow?
Well, I don't like bargains, Davy.
Oh, well, I do. Especially when they benefit me. Having your company tomorrow is what I'd consider a benefit.
Well, I can see there'll be no peace until I say I'll go.
I knew I could talk you into it.
Honestly.
Come on in. I ain't got a looking glass, but I can tell I ain't fit for company.
I don't consider myself company. I bagged more rabbits than I can use when I was out hunting this morning. I thought you folks might like one.
Thanks, Dan. His family's fond of rabbit stew. And Pa says nobody makes rabbit stew as tasty as me.
I stopped by and left one at Dave and Molly's, too. But nobody was at home.
They went into Wild Rose to pick up the saplings Dave's pa sent out.
I didn't see your pa or Charlie and Flora when I rode up.
Well, they's over at the Carruthers getting some milk. I made corn biscuits yesterday. They come out real fine. I mean, I recall you saying you like corn biscuits.
I sure do.
Seems to me a shame you don't have anyone to fix you the kind of victuals you like.
Well, I guess I'm lucky, because I have friends who do.
Well, I'll get them. You want to sit?
Sure.
I was kind of hoping we could get a cow. Charlie and Flora need milk if they's to grow right.
Oh, no one can say you haven't done a real fine job mothering those two.
Ain't nothing more fitting for a woman to be than a wife and a mother.
Wouldn't mind having some of your biscuits.
Oh, like I said, they come out really good. I guess Charlie got to them.
Seems to me like I used to do the same thing to my ma when I was no older than Charlie and Flora. Oh, that reminds me, I got something for him. I was going through my old carryall last night, and I come across it. I don't know why I held on to it all these years.
Could be it was because it was left from when you had a ma and a pa. Nothing takes the place of a family.
Well, here, let me show you how it works, and you can show Charlie and Flora. Well, I got things to do at home. Best get going. You tell your pa to stop by sometime.
Well, I sure will.
Oh, and tell Charlie and Flora I didn't forget my promise to take him to Turtle Creek. You come along, too.
It's been such a long time since we had Dan and the Peters over for supper.
Well, I'd be glad to have them. We don't get to see Dan nearly enough lately.
I know. And a man living alone never prepares a fit meal for himself.
Well, I never noticed it stunted Dan's growth any.
Just the same, he needs a wife.
You do have your matchmaking cap on, don't you?
Well, Dan should marry, Davy. He's older than you are.
Well, I guess he figures he's got a couple of good years left in him.
He's your best friend. Don't you want to see him content?
Seems content enough to me. In fact, if he was any more content, he'd be downright dull.
I expect you to help, not hinder.
I don't intend to do either.
Davy, what is he going to do out there?
Oh, ease up. You know I'm all for a man marrying. Why, I made up my mind when I was only 10 that you were going to be my wife when I got to marrying age.
Well, I decided that when I was only 8.
These are the last.
Do you think they're still alive?
Well, they look healthy enough. I guess they enjoyed the train ride. Come on, get up.
Morning.
Well, hello, Mr. Doyle. How things going?
Oh, couldn't be better. And how are you, Mrs. Beaton?
I'm just fine, thank you, Mr.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that. I know you've been through a bit of a rough one.
I noticed some railroad supply wagons out on the prairie.
Well, now, it's not too difficult to see any moving object out on the prairie, Dave, right? I've got to be off. Nice to see you both looking so well.
We know as little as we did before.
Get up. Say, why is the government setting up a land office in Wild Rose?
The government opened an office here because all the land is took up in the territory. Now there's mostly claims changing hands around here and other new towns springing up along the railroad.
Makes sense, I guess.
There's something to be said about a man being on the spot when there's a dollar to be made.
I don't know that I follow you.
Well, a man who has the inside track, a man who knows what the railroad's got in mind, he could make $1 or $2 buying up land.
It somehow don't seem quite legal to me.
No law against a man turning a profit because he's in the know ahead of others.
We should go if we're to be home before dark, Davy.
On our way. See you again.
Hold on a minute.
Let me see if you're on the list.
What list?
Folks who have to move out to make way for the railroad.
Why would anybody have to move out?
Railroad's being diverted to bypass the Sioux reservation that's being set up. It's been a change of plans, you might say.
Davy, that's where those supply wagons were going.
Name's Beaton. You mind telling me who's on that list?
Don't mind at all. Abbott, Baker, Bennington, Carruthers, Dimwood, Gray,
Smith?
Dan Gray?
That's what it says.
But he's our friend.
Railroad can't do that to Dan. The route was laid out before he took his claim. He got his claim legal and proved up on his land.
Government gave the railroad the right to preempt any land they need. Matter of fact, I'll be riding out tomorrow with a bona fide representative of the railroad to give your friend his notice.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Get up! Get up! Ah!
There must be something we can do to help Dan. The railroad has no right to take his land. Oh, it all seems so underhand.
It sure does. But I'll be standing right by his side when Yancy and his bona fide railroad representative come to put him off. They won't find it all that easy.
Appreciate your coming over. But if push comes to shove, I don't want you mixed up in this. You got Molly to think of.
Molly's all for my standing up with you.
Good morning, boys. What? Didn't expect to have the pleasure of seeing you again quite so soon.
Can't say I call it a pleasure, seeing what you come here for.
You're wasting your time. You might just as well turn around and head back to Wild Rose.
Now simmer down. I'm just a messenger for the government, you might say.
Then you can deliver my message back to them. This is my land, and I'm not giving it up. The railroad wasn't set to come through here when I took my claim.
I'm not the one that discovered gold in the Black Hills, and the government says that the Indians got to be moved out.
What has that got to do with us?
The Indians got to be moved someplace.
Yeah, well, all the same, I'm not getting out. You tell the railroad to lay their tracks someplace else.
Just give them the paper and the $36.
What, $36?
Twice what you paid when you filed your claim. Doubled your money back in no time at all.
Now, Dan proved up on his land. He put up a shanty, he put in a crop.
Just give them the paper and the money.
You afraid to come here alone, Yancy? You have to bring a bully boy along.
Hey, now. Watch who you're calling a bully boy.
Mr. Pike is a bona fide representative for the railroad.
A ex-Pinkerton man.
I heard about you Pinkerton detectives.
Finish up your business, Yancy, before I plant these two.
Will do.
You get that paper served, or I'll plant you too.
Simmer down. Simmer down. Here you are. All legal and proper.
According to me, it isn't.
My. People are sure hard to convince nowadays. Well, when the train and the railroad comes plowing through your shanty, then you can come here and pick it up.
I ain't forgetting that. I'll be back too.
I'll still be here. And you can count on that.
Chop, chop.
Can't stand in the way of progress, can we, boys?
The country's growing, and we need the railroad.
I got 2 years sweating this land, and I'm not moving!
No use in fighting, Davy.
Well, I couldn't very well just stand by while that railroad bully was throwing his weight at Dan. Will you ease up, Molly? It's just a scratch.
No, Davy, it'll fester if it's not cleaned properly. Is there anything Dan can do now?
He's going into town tomorrow to talk to Doyle.
Well, Mr. Doyle is only the construction boss for the railroad.
Well, the railroad admires the job he's doing. He might listen to him. I'm going in with Dan tomorrow.
Mr. Peters might want to go along, too.
No, I intended to ask him.
Good. Peters and Danny become like family. The only family we have out here.
I guess you still miss your folks, huh?
No more than you miss yours. Now take off your shirt. I'll get my sewing box and mend it.
You show me where it says the railroad's got the right to take my land.
Now, take it easy, Dan. I've always been a good friend of the homesteaders, and you know it.
We've always counted your friend, Mr. Doyle. But taking a man's land seems mighty unfriendly.
I got no say in the matter, Dave. I wish to God I had.
The railroad wasn't marked to come my way when I took my claim. And if you're bypassing the new reservation, why can't you bypass my land as well?
The surveyors chose the route they considered best, Dan, and you're not the only man who has to get off his land.
It just ain't right a man puts his sweat in his place and then loses it.
I don't plan to lose it. Who do I talk to over you?
Over me, is it? And by God, you can talk to President Grant himself if you like. It won't do you a bit of good. Look, Dan, the railroad made a deal with the government, and the government has what's called eminent domain.
What's that?
The right to take private property for public use, or to authorize its taking, with just compensation to the owner. Sure, Dan, you're going to lose your land. There's nothing you can do about that, but you'll be paid for it.
$36.
Yeah. Well, of course, the government did give the right to the railroad.
Hey, look what's coming. I'll bet it's not the same price Yancy gets for the land he's bought up.
Hell, ain't that a sight?
What's the cavalry doing here?
Well, it might be to make sure that you brave sodbusters don't cause no trouble for the railroad.
Not the end of the world, young fella. You can always start again.
It ain't all that easy starting again. I've had my fill of it.
I chose my land, and that's where I'm staying.
It'll take Custer and his entire U.S. cavalry to get me off my land.
September 23. I long to plant a sapling near our baby's grave, a tree to provide shade in summer and a place for birds to build their nests. But since we never speak of little Davy, I cannot suggest it. It is very hard not to share our sorrow.
Take a while for these saplings to grow, but we'll have trees someday, Molly. Still nice and soft beneath the bark. You've been wanting trees since the first day we got here.
The prairie was so vast and empty. It still is.
Yeah, trees will change the look of it. We'll be the first to set out trees.
You've always liked to be first, haven't you, Davy?
I guess it's in my nature. Besides, a man gets tired of being called Sonny all the time. Makes him want to keep proving he's a man. That sounds silly to you, Molly?
No. Do you think we should ride over and see Dan?
I plan to, as soon as the saplings are planted. Besides, it's a good time to leave him alone. Sometimes a man is just not up to socializing.
Well, we'll go when you think we should. Wash up. We'll have our supper. I need some more soap. Take the baby, wash him, wrap him, put him in the cradle near the fire.
Oh, Molly.
Don't you want to see your son?
Molly? Did you find the soap? Did you find the soap?
No. There's such a mess in there, Davy. You really should make order. You look so spindly, Davy.
I know. But they'll grow fast.
It'll take a lot more trees than we have to cover 10 acres.
Yeah, I guess the government never planned how many trees it would take to fill up 10 acres.
I don't recall inviting you to my property.
U.S. cavalry don't need an invitation. No need to be testy.
He's dead.
You killed Dan.
Not yet. That's Carruthers stretched out back there. But your friend Gray's next if you don't clear out.
Carruthers was a good man.
You had no right to kill him.
Man aims a rifle at me, I don't wait to get a hole blown through me. Just the way it happened. Ain't that the truth?
You murdered Carruthers.
I'd watch how I put that. Government don't take kindly to a military action being called a murder. You take a good look at Carruthers. A real good look. If your friend don't leave peaceable, you'll be keeping Carruthers company in the Wild Rose graveyard. And if you're planning to stand up with him tomorrow, get there bright and early. And there'll be 2 holes dug in that graveyard. Got him! Come, come.
Davy, what are you doing?
Got to help Dan, Molly. There's no way I can't.
You could get killed, as well as Dan. The only way you can help him is to convince him to give up his claim.
You think I'm not gonna try? But Dan could be mighty stubborn, especially when right's on his side.
And I have to try too. I'm going with you.
No, you're not.
He might listen to me, if not you. Besides, if I'm there, the soldiers are far less likely to resort to violence.
Now you get back in bed. You're not going,
I'm
Molly.
not getting back in bed, and I am going.
There's no way I'm gonna let you.
You can't stop me, Davy.
But I don't know what's gonna happen there, Molly.
Then it's all the more reason for me to go. I'm going, Davy. And if you won't take me, I'll go alone.
win.
Can I talk to him?
He's already been talked to.
Not by me. You don't want him out. You want him dead. Only this time you've got witnesses, mister. Unless you're planning to kill us too.
All right. But make it short.
Molly, go over behind the cavalry over there. You stay well out of the way. Do like I say, Molly. You promised.
Your gun.
Take yourself out of this, Dave. I don't want to see you hurt. And you shouldn't have brought in Molly.
Give it up, Dan. That Pike is itching to kill you.
You'll have to get me off my property.
Now, I admire a man that fights for what's rightly his. But nobody can take on the Army, the railroad, and the U.S. government.
All the same, it's what I'm gonna do. I don't know if I got words to say just how I feel. But from the first time I heard there was free land in the Dakota Territory and rode out to take a look, I knew this was where I wanted to set myself forever. I could see the wheat that'd be stretching across the prairie someday, clear to the Black Hills. The land's all taken now, but I got my piece and I intend to hang on to it. Now stop making yourself a target.
It's not worth giving your life for. It seems to me a man ought to care about his own life as much as his friends do. Besides, you won't be going all that far away. I'm giving you my tree claim.
Oh, no. I'm not about to deprive you because the railroad wants to deprive me.
Well, I don't look at it that way.
Been enough talk!
Get out of the way, Dave.
I'm gonna stand planted right here, Dan. So unless you're set on making Molly a widow, you best give it up. Hand me your rifle. And we'll put an end to this. Before they put an end to the both of us.
could clear out. Railroads proved that all it needs to get what it wants is to call in the U.S. Army.
Thank God.
Chop, chop.
Now, I know how you've counted on trees. I'm gonna give Dan our tree claim.
Oh, I'm very glad.
I didn't say I'd take your tree claim, Dave.
Well, said or not, Dan, that's how it's got to be.
No. And I wouldn't have given up except I didn't want to see Molly a widow. It's about the only thing I wasn't about to do.
Now, let's talk sense. Where are you gonna go with winter coming on if you don't take our claim? You can't live off the land when the blizzards start. You're gonna go to work for the railroad and hold up in one of their camps.
I'd as soon die as go to work for the railroad.
Then you've no choice but to take our claim.
I won't do it. Not when you and Molly talked about setting out trees from the first time we met.
Davy and I would rather have you stay than have a whole forest.
I appreciate that, but I'm still not taking your claim.
For all the talk of women being stubborn, I've never met a man who didn't outdo them.
Now, Molly.
Don't you owe Molly me. It takes just as much grace to take as it does to give.
You sure got a way of putting things in a different light.
And you'll take the claim?
No. But I'll winter on it, and I'll thank you for that. But in the spring, I'm moving on.
Hey, Pike! Keep your hands off my shanty! I'm taking it with me!
You can take it to Timbuktu for all I care.
Monday was my wedding day. Tuesday I got married. Wednesday night my wife took sick. Saturday she was buried. Oh, looky har. Oh, looky war. Look right over yonder. Don't you see the old gray goose smiling at the gander?
It's almost ready. Good. We got a lot of hungry folks. Let's get the nippy out, Flora. I'll get you a shawl from the wagon.
The weather is changing. It'll soon be winter.
I know. I can hardly wait till Christmas.
There's still a way to go to Christmas. But it'll come, just as it always does.
I once got a Christmas present.
Once?
Pa was making some cash money in Yankton and bought me this dolly.
Let's see. It's a fine dolly, Flora.
Ow!
What happened?
I got stucker.
Oh, you got yourself a man-sized splinter there, Charlie. I'll tell you what. You shut your eyes. You hold on to me real tight. You sing your best song as loud as you can, and that splinter will come flying out.
Whiskey is the life of man. Whiskey, Johnny. Oh, whiskey is the life of man. Whiskey, Johnny. Whiskey, give me a broken nose. Whiskey.
That didn't hardly hurt. You've done it good as my paw. I got 2 paws now.
Dinner's ready. Rabbit stew and corn cakes.
Yippee!
September 30. Dan moved into his new shanty today, and although he insists it is a temporary home, he seems content. Our hope is that by spring he will accept our tree claim as his own. It would have been a joyous day if it had not been for Charlie calling Davy his second paw. Although Davy tried to hide his grief, he could not.
Molly? Molly, come here. I've got something to show you. Oh, you best bring your shawl. There's a bite in the air. Look, Molly.
Dan and the Peters. First time there've been 2 lamps out on the prairie. Oh, Davy, it's awfully good to have neighbors.
Sure is. And I'll do my best to see that Dan stays, too.
They both will. At any rate, we'll have a house full at Christmas. When we go into town to buy winter provisions, I want to buy Christmas presents. All we can afford. When can we go, Davy?
Tomorrow suit you? We've got to go into town soon before the weather changes. Find ourselves snowbound.
Tomorrow will be just fine. I've returned to my diary to add one thought. The prairie is a lonely place, but less lonely now. How comforting it is to see lamps shining through the darkness. What a fine thing it is to have others to share one's joys as well as sorrows.
That's for string and not eating.
Corn ain't what should be strung for Christmas. I guess it'll do, seeing we don't got cranberries.
What's cranberry?
They're little shiny red berries. Remember once when I was as little as you, Ma gave me some to string for Christmas. Reckon it was the finest Christmas I ever had.
I don't remember no fine Christmas.
Pa done the best he could. And you two got no cause to complain. Ma had a way of easing things. I remember once when I was as little as you, I wanted a dolly for Christmas. And I carried on something fearful. Ma said Christmas wasn't dollies, peppermint sticks. Christmas was the Christmas baby God gave to the world. That was the best present anybody could get.
October 1. There's frost on the ground each morning now, but the weather holds clear and sunny. Davy thinks we'll have a mild winter. If so, it'll be the first since we came to the prairie. Back home, Papa is harvesting the pumpkins, setting aside the best for Mama to make pies for Thanksgiving and Christmas. I think I shall ask Mama to send me the seeds. There's no reason why pumpkins shouldn't thrive here as well as in Iowa. We shall have a fine drive to Wild Rose today to buy our Christmas presents. All the happier because the Peters and Dan are going as well.
See that Morgan, Molly?
She's almost as pretty as Whitefoot was.
Whitefoot the Morgan you lost coming out here?
That's right. They were a match set of Morgans Pa gave us as a wedding present. I was in such a hurry to get to our claim, I drove her too hard, broke her leg, had to shoot her.
They'll get into mischief if I don't see to them.
I'd best see to Nettie, or she takes the things that we can't afford.
Someday we'll get another Morgan, Molly. We'll have a matched pair, just like I promised.
I'm sure we'll be able to afford one in time, Davy.
Guess I'm just not all that good at waiting. Well, let's go. We got a lot to do.
Seems like my horse is about to throw a shoe, so I'd best go see to him.
Meet you inside when you finish.
How you getting on there, young fella? Glad we'll be still having you around.
For a while, anyway. No thanks to the government or the railroad.
Oh, come on now. There's no need holding a grudge like that. You know I didn't want to see you put off.
Yeah, I reckon I know that. Still riles me, though, the way the government and the railroad work together as close as thieves. That old gent with the Morgan horse just come into town?
Oh, yeah, he just got in this morning from Boston. Name's Brenner. He's a judge.
Don't tell me the law's finally coming to Wild Rose.
No, unfortunately. No, he's come to look after his widowed sister in her homestead.
The old boy doesn't seem capable of doing what's necessary on a homestead.
Yeah, he'll be looking for help next spring, but I had to tell him every available man is spoken for by the railroad.
Thanks.
Thanks? For what?
Salt, now you stop hanging around here. There's no free handouts here. Damn Carruthers kids.
These two belong to Carruthers? His wife, I mean?
You heard me. Now you get.
On a minute. Give them two of them. I'll pay.
You sodbusters sure are free with your money.
Not half as free as the railroad is with making widows.
What else you want?
Kerosene.
Mind hiding these days? I don't want Nettie or the young'uns to come across them before Christmas.
It's very pretty. Do you like it, Davy?
I sure do. It's about time you made yourself a new dress.
Oh, no, it's for Nettie. For Christmas. I doubt she's ever had a dress that wasn't a makeover.
Then you go right on and make her one.
How much will a dress length cost?
Exactly 86 cents, ma'am.
That much?
Yes, ma'am.
Never mind. Go right on and get it.
All right. One dress length, please, and a spool of matching thread.
Apples come too high for us to buy, Nettie.
Just 6 won't be all that much. And that's all I need to make apple jelly.
Apple jelly ain't as important as other things we need.
It ain't for us. I don't see how we can go empty-handed when Molly's making the Christmas dinner. Please, Pa. I don't mind going without something else.
Well, in that case, I guess I don't either.
Did you find everything you needed?
Just about. You take your time. Did you get your horse shod?
What?
Oh, no. Found out that he didn't need chewing after all.
You come see too, Pa. You come too, Nettie.
Thank you, ladies. Please come again.
Ain't it fine?
It sure is, Flora.
Molly, you come see too.
Coming.
I've never seen a prettier sled.
Charlie and Flora come across this sled.
Can we get it, Pa? Me and Charlie for Christmas?
Well, let's see. Oh, $6.
That much?
There's just no way I can spend $6 on a sled.
I guess Loftus figures with wood being so scarce and valuable out here, he can ask any price he wants.
But $6, it's robbery.
Well, we're in the right store for being robbed.
It'd be the best Christmas present I could ever give myself if I could buy you that sled. But we just can't afford it.
It don't matter, Pa. We got no cost to carry on. Little Davy will never have a Christmas.
I should have done it long ago.
Why?
I've seen you in here, grieving over this cradle. Now, Molly, I can't keep other people from doing you harm like Flora did today, but I can do away with this cradle and keep it from reminding you.
Do you think I'll remember any less if the cradle is gone?
I just don't want it to be any harder on you than it is.
It was keeping our sorrow inside that made it harder.
We closed ourselves off when we needed each other most, Davy.
I only wanted to spare you, Molly.
I wanted to spare you, Davy.
There's been times when I didn't think I could hold back the tears inside me.
Let them come, Davy. Let them come.
He's gone. Little Davy is gone.
He's gone. Oh. There we said it, Davy. We finally said it to each other. We don't have to watch every word we say, Davy. We can talk about little Davy. And how good it was to have him. Even if it was just for a little while.
I wanted to talk about him, Molly. It was like he was slipping away.
And he was. Because we weren't sharing his remembrance. I've been thinking about Flora and Charlie. How much they long for that sled.
I know. Recall how I felt when I got my first sled. Pa made it for me.
Do you think you could make a sled for the children, Davy?
I could. If I had the lumber, but I don't.
You could use the lumber from little Davy's cradle.
But you kept me from breaking it up.
Oh, it isn't the same, Davy. You'd be making something of the cradle, something that would bring joy to others.
Are you sure you want me to do that, Molly?
Yes, I'm sure.
You won't feel sorry afterwards?
You'll make me happy, Davy, truly.
All right. I'll get on it right away. And that prairie flyer won't hold a candle to it.
I know it won't.
Apple jelly sure smells good.
Put it through a cloth 4 times so it'd get bright and clear. And it made a bread pudding. Put in all the apple leavings. Ought to be real tasty.
Be a real treat for Charlie and Flora.
Guess this candle's all melted. That's gonna keep it sealed real tight till Christmas. I can use this wick again when next I make candles.
You sure ain't one for wasting this back.
Make some man a fine wife.
I intend to.
Merry Christmas.
Christmas tree. Oh, Davy, it's beautiful. Pine cones. Where'd you get them?
I asked Pa to send them along with the saplings.
And you kept them hidden all this time? Oh, Davy, it's the loveliest gift you could give me. You don't know how I've missed the smell of pine and to have a whole tree. Thank you.
Someday we'll have a real Christmas tree, Molly.
Oh, no tree will ever be as dear to me as this one. Now I must give you your gift.
I've never seen anything like this. How'd you manage to get it done without my seeing?
You do like it?
Like it? Well, you just wait and see how I show it off.
Merry Christmas.
Come on in.
let me take your coat.
Oh, just a minute. I got some presents in the pocket. This one's for Charlie. This here's for Flora.
So pretty.
Oh, this sweet-smelling stuff's for Nettie.
It's a wonderful gift, Dan.
Thought maybe you could put the presents around the tree.
You knew about the tree?
Well, what's the use of having a good friend if you can't take him in your confidence?
Honestly.
I got something for you and Dave as well.
There was no need. Christmas is for children.
Well, Dave's been called Sonny often enough to not mind getting a present. Here you are.
What is it?
Well, you never find out if you don't open it up.
Why, thank you, Dan. It's lovely.
It sure is.
Had a soldier sitting on top, but I'm not overly fond of the U.S. cavalry, so I took it off. There's the letter that goes with the present.
You're giving us a Morgan?
Sold your labor for it.
Toy horse was just to remind you that it's coming. Remember that old gent in Wild Rose with the Morgan horse you admired so much? Well, I made a deal with him. Of course, you won't get your real horse till spring, after I've finished plowing and seeding. Put up a new shanty next to the old soddy where he's living now. But the Morgan's yours. Well, that's what it says on the paper the judge wrote up.
Oh, we can't let you give us a Morgan.
Can't and won't.
There's nothing you can do about it. Deal's writ up and signed. Look, the day you stood up in front of me, chancing a bullet, well, Molly said it takes more grace to take than it does to give. So I don't see how you can do other than take the Morgan.
Well, that was different, Dan.
Well, I don't see it that way.
The only way we'll take your Morgan is if you keep our tree claim. For good, I mean.
No.
It's the only way.
How'd things get so twisted around? A man gives a present to his friends, there oughtn't to be strings attached.
There's no string, Dan. Molly and I have been trying to think of a way to make you keep our claim. Looks like you did it for us.
No, I'm not taking your tree claim.
All right, then I'm not taking your Morgan.
Oh, yes, you are.
No, I won't.
You sure will.
No, I won't.
Oh,
that's quite enough. We thank you for the Morgan, Dan. Now you thank us for the tree claim.
I guess I thank you for the tree claim.
Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas! Dan, you two, sit down. Take off your snowshoes. Here, sit down.
Oh, Mr. Peters, come on, get by the fire.
Sit down.
Dan won't be leaving in the spring.
Well, that is good news.
Thank you, Mr. Peters.
Wouldn't you say so, Nettie?
Yeah, Pa. Apple jelly, Molly. I made it myself. It come out real good, too.
Oh, we haven't had apple jelly since we left home.
Well, Molly just gave me this.
Oh. Hey, that's wonderful.
Don't know how she made it without me seeing. Must have taken a long time to make that.
My, ain't it pretty? Ain't it pretty, Pa?
The young'uns ain't never seen a Christmas tree before.
I can't think of any reason to hold up giving Charlie and Flora their present. Can you, Molly?
No, I can't think of any reason.
Well, this is what your pa had me keep hidden from you till Christmas morning.
We got a sled! Oh, isn't it pretty? Can't wait till tomorrow. Go outside and play in the snow. We got a sled! We got a sled! We got a sled! We got a
Fine-looking sled.
It looks just like the one in Wild Rose.
We got a sled!
Say, is anybody against us having our dinner now? I've been watching that bird roast all morning. It's more than I can bear.
Well, if we're taking a vote, I vote for dinner.
Dinner.
December 25, 1874. I mark this Christmas in my diary as one I shall always cherish, for we have shared it with good neighbors and dear friends. And it is the sharing that brings joy and contentment, the sharing of all things. Davy and I know this now, and we shall never forget it.